Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blood Boil. We're going to be starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, atop the red Terran player representing Sloth Esports Club. Give it up for Raze. And his opponent, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss player. Oh, the man, the myth, the cheeser. Give it up for Haas. Taiwanese Protoss player who, is renowned for his cannon rushing. I think probably one of the most famous moments to me in StarCraft is when he cannon rushed Jaedong out of WCS, and he did it by doing a 5-pylon wall-in. It was just disgusting. It was dirty, it was ridiculous, but I think a lot of people love him for it. A lot of people really adore this guy because he knows how to bring out the craziness in StarCraft. He knows how to play the game in a way that just very few other people do. Interestingly enough, he is just going to leave one guy on gas. He's going to be going for the expansion pretty quickly. He's going to play this out as a more standard game. He's not going to go for Proxy Oracle, which is another thing he's actually very well known for doing. But I was talking a little bit about Raze. He's that North American Terran player that I was saying likes to play in a very adaptive way. And what I mean by that is he will think of things on the spot in the middle of his games and just say, you know what, I think I'm going to try it. I don't know if this is going to work. This might be a bad idea. This might be a terrible idea. But I'm never really going to know until I try. And because of that experimentation, he sometimes discovers some really juicy, dirty builds. Or even just dirty little tactics and strategies. And I'll let you kind of guys discover some of those strategies and tactics for yourself. As the game goes on, we'll see if Raze implores any of them. He's a very fun player to watch because of that. He's a very, I guess, impromptu player in a lot of ways. But he also has some pretty solid macro, which is another thing I really like about him. The best kind of cheeser is the player that can also macro behind it and keep your opponent guessing. That's one of the things that sometimes Haas, I think, struggles with a little bit. Reaper is going to make his way in, and there is not enough pylon coverage over here to cover this this main mineral line. Even the natural expansion is going to be very much exposed with no pylon back over here. This is an in-base natural expansion, by the way, for those who haven't noticed. There's rocks over here they can eventually knock down to open up the pathway, make it very easy to dart between your main, your natural, and your third. But earlier on in the game, it's very difficult for things like Ling run-bys and stuff if there was a Zerg in this game. But, ooh, nice pick off with the Adept. Does kill off the Reaper. Is going to shut that down, which would have been very annoying. Because, again, the pylon coverage isn't exactly astoundingly great for Haas, but I kind of understand why he wasn't exactly expecting the Reaper to come in, it seems like, from this particular angle. He was maybe expecting him to come in from this side. So he has Mothership Core just in the wrong position to push an overcharge. Okay, but we got a Stim coming out. We got our pretty quick starport also finishing up. Where is that starport? Okay, here it is. Starport on the way. Doesn't seem like we have a tech lab coming down, so it's probably just going to be a reactor or something. Get out some medevacs. Put on some nice little pressure. Raze playing it out pretty standard for the most part, as far as I can tell. He's got a Widow Mine that's coming out. He's going to be able to plop that down over here. Again, they probably is thinking, yeah, my opponent's a little bit notorious for going for Oracle openings and Stargate openings, but funny enough, we don't see Haas do anything of the sort. He made one Adept, he got out a Mothership Core, and then he's just playing ultra greedy with his tech. He's getting out a Twilight Council with Resonating Glaze. He's getting up a Warp Prism. He's throwing down a lot of gateways. So it's going to be a big Adept all-in with the Warp Prism. Now, the Widow Mine can actually still get a beautiful connection off with the Warp Prism, depending on where it comes in from. This could still actually be a really nice spot for him, but no, Raze is going to pick up that Widow Mine and move across the map, put on some pressure of his own. And the funny thing is, this is actually going to be happening around the same time that the Warp Prism would have been popping for Haas. Maybe just a few seconds later, but that's going to mean that there's not necessarily going to be a whole lot of defenses in preparation for Raze's Widow Mine drop. And not only that, but Raze will have an extra maybe 10 or 15 seconds to react to exactly what his opponent's up to. Oh, but Raze, he's just moving over the third and sees, oh, well, you haven't taken it, so I guess I'll drop this down here, question mark, and then just retreat back home. He's not going to get any scouting information. The only scouting information he's really gotten, I suppose, is the fact that there is no third. But Raze doesn't have a third. This shouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Sure, there are some pro players that like to go for early thirds, but Raze is still very in the dark right now, I think. And the angle that his opponent comes in from is also going to be a very important thing to keep note of. Although the adepts are going to get scouted over here, not inside the Warp Prism. Warp Prism going to try and segment itself off. Did Raze notice it? He did have high ground vision from the medevac, so he should have been able to notice it. Adept's not going to be able to finish that shade, and now Raze is just going to raise that supply depot, make it a lot harder. But Haas warps in on the low ground, interestingly enough. He's going to go after the supply depot. He can knock down those rocks and open up another way for him to move into his opponent's natural, but Raze, he's going to be able to prevent the adepts from moving in from either side because they're both fully walled off. Adepts start working away at those rocks, but Raze has vision of it. He can get into position. He has time to react and start doing things. There's still no gas geysers down at this natural expansion. This is only one gas geyser at this natural expansion, by the way, which makes this a very surprising base for Haas to have taken. He's going for a dark shrine, but can he really support that? I mean, sure, he is just making adepts, and adepts don't cost a whole lot of gas, but Raze stims forward, the Warp Prism getting forced back by the Vikings, and there is a big shade forward, so Haas is going to be able to force Raze very far back. He's not going to be able to just chase him all the way down, stimming forward and taking out adept after adept, but this is such a dangerous position for Haas. He doesn't even have that much gas saved up. These adepts are taking their toll on the gas. There's 400 gas saved up. That's maybe enough for like 2 or 3 DTs. I guess now getting up to 4 DTs. But Raze is looking really solid. He's up in supply now. And I think as this game goes on, his position is going to become better and better because Raze has a base that, yeah, it has one gas geyser like his opponents, but Terran player doesn't care as much about gas. Oh, losing a couple of these adepts. Not the greatest way. And still not finishing up any of those shades, because as soon as, you might be wondering, why isn't Haas letting those shades finish? Why isn't he teleporting forward? The reason is, as soon as he does, this army is trapped. It's going to be trapped for an extra maybe 10, 15 seconds, and this Bioforce will just devastate this low number of adepts. Oh, Raze is trying to make it look like the army has already left, so he moves his army just outside of the vision range of those adepts and immediately pounces on it, obliterates every single last one of them. I want to say, but 2 of them do manage to cancel their shade and don't actually escape out. Well, no, now they're going to run out. Okay, Raze leaves 2 survivors to tell the tale of the massacre on the south side of the map. Haas still has that Dark Shrine, though. He's got 1 DT doing some good damage and up to 7 kills. That's not bad. Might not actually be able to get up to an 8th. Just because you scan a DT doesn't mean it's been dealt with. That's always the fun thing about DTs. And that 1 adept has made its way back in. Shaded and past the army. He's going to be able to go after some of these SCVs. That 1 DT is still doing work. Oh my god, 11, 12 kills. Finally gets cleaned up as it makes its way into range of another missile turret. But now Raze is not looking so great. He killed off a lot of the army for Haas, but Haas still has ridiculous amounts of production. They're still both on 2 bases. And Raze does not have a 3rd expansion. Nor, okay, sorry, he does, oh, he does have a 3rd expansion. So he has a 3rd orbital command, but he doesn't have a lot of workers. He could still make something work off of this, but he probably still, yeah, he wants to move across the map. He wants to do something. He needs to put some form of pressure on, prevent his opponent from taking a 3rd, prevent his opponent from easily teching up too much and getting out something like a really fast Colossus tech or really fast Disruptor tech out. He knows that his opponent's army was taken out not that long ago, so that is the way he can capitalize in this game. Do that, and that will also secure a 3rd expansion. I would actually love if he started mining from this 3rd. Just because he's moving out across the map, this is going to be how he safely secures his 3rd. DT does make its way into the main base, but he has enough units over here, and he has another missile turret, so it takes that off very, very quickly. There's no upgrades for that DT right now. No Blink coming out for those Dark Templar. Even Haas doesn't mess with Blink. That Widowmine at the 3rd, still 0 kills on it. So looks like no probes have actually been taken out. Haas hasn't even attempted to take a 3rd. And that's actually raised some suspicions for Raze, because he's just like, okay, wait a second, do you have a hidden base? You can see he's scouting around for one right now. Might even move that Marine down over here very soon. But Haas has had time to warp in more and more of these adepts, and these adepts, they don't have great upgrades. 1-1 versus 0-0. The 1-1's about to finish up for Haas. He engages right before 1-1 finishes up, but okay, now 1-1 is finished up. He gets it for at least half the engagement, but is this going to be enough? Raze is losing a lot of his army supply. It's all gonna actually get devastated. He picks up the last remaining remnants. Did he kill off enough of these adepts? You have to remember, Raze has a third expansion. If he can hold on with a third, this is actually an okay trade. If he cannot hold on though, oh boy, this will spiral out of control. It's not over until the fat lady sings. He keeps all of those medevacs alive, of course, because there's nothing killing them. Reinforcements also joining in. There's a lot of marauders in the mix back at home. And I don't actually think this is enough adepts on their own. Maybe with another round of reinforcements, but that economy is starting to run very dry for Haas. 2-2 also on the way for Raze. So eventually, I think 1-2-2 finishes up. That's when Raze just like should win the game. If this game is still going on. If there's still a continued all-in attempt from Haas. That is just the killing blow point. Oh, this one Viking. There's absolutely zero anti-air. Why does the Viking continue to chase? No, what are you doing? Oh, missed opportunity. Might have been on the same control group. He's going to just leave it on patrol now. The buyout chases after those adepts. That's going to leave these adepts very, very, I guess, unopposed on the mineral line. So even though, yeah, he's going to be able to clean up all these adepts in the main base, that's half the army of Haas, sure. He's going to be losing a lot of his forces. He might be losing his third. Oh no, Raze is not going to lift it up. That's his big money win point. Oh my god, that was his big advantage. Raze, no, not like this. There's still not that many adepts left over though, so if Raze continues to just kill off too many of these adepts, he might be able to counterattack for a win. Haas realizes this, shades on out of there. He still has that War Prism alive. He's been making even more adepts that he can shade in forward, try and continue the aggression. If Raze tries to move out, this is turning into such a weird game. Liberator's also 100% unopposed. There's quite literally zero things in this game that can attack them besides a photon overcharge. In fact, if one of these Liberators made their way across the map, I'm pretty sure you could find a place to just set up and deny mining. Look at this beautiful spot right here. Shut down 3 or 4 mineral patches. Haas is on a timer. Another command center is being built. I almost would have liked if Raze had lifted up his main orbital command, floated it over here, and just started building another orbital in his main base. Because he needs mining right now. He is also running very dry. Although I guess he has a undersaturation with how many workers he lost. Finally, he gets a double drop out on the other side of the map. He takes out the Tall Council, then gonna focus fire down the Cybernetic Core, prevent any more Adept Warpins. That's gonna be a pretty big deal. Zealots don't have any charge upgrades, I think. Adepts also walking their way into death. GG gets called. Raze. There we go. Raze takes victory in the game after a very back and forth and difficult game for either side.